Welcome to the High Achieving Parents Podcast. I am your host, Severine Nassens, and I invite you to join us as we explore the reality and family experiences of high achieving parents around the globe. Learn from like-minded parents who do believe balance is possible, but not a one-size-fits-all proposition. Stay tuned for conversations about how my guests juggle successful careers in parenthood to make it all work in their own way. Will we find a common thread throughout these interviews? Let's find out. Today, I am so happy to welcome a wonderful woman all the way from Nigeria at this very moment, but moving soon to the US. Nike Anani is a business consultant and strategist. She is a wizard when it comes to bringing family businesses into harmony, bringing those generations to work together in a harmonious way. And I think that is an amazing, amazing topic we can talk about today, is how family-owned businesses keep their sanity, keep things rolling, and passing businesses on from one generation to another as that happens all around the world. And Nike works with clients around the globe. So it is my distinct honor to welcome you. You are also the mom of two boys, happily married. So there's plenty of topics here to explore. So welcome, Nike, to the High Achieving Parents Podcast.
Thank you so much, Severine. Thank you for having me.
It has been a true blessing to speak with you, and I've had the honor to be interviewed by you as well. On your podcast, Connected Generations podcast. I'll make sure to put the link down below so everybody can go find that and listen to your podcast as well. Amazing stories out there with amazing people as well. So, talking about being a high achiever, you totally fit into that description. I'm not very keen on labels, but this is a label that we carry with pride, I think, to be called high achieving moms. So would you please share with us what has been your highest achievement thus far? Because I know there's many more to come.
This is going to sound really funny and sound like I'm joking, but I mean it with all sincerity. Surviving 2021. It's just been... Our year started off extremely rocky. We lost 4 close family members within 2 weeks of each other. And thank you. And I'm a business owner. I'm a consultant. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I felt like there was nothing left of me to give because I felt so empty emotionally. Yeah. I was a wreck. And I literally just took it a day as it came. So there were some days where I could operate, I could function, I could get on with my meetings and be beasting it. And there were some days where I was just rolled up in a bed, just crying.
Oh, yeah.
And that is my highest achievement, to be perfectly honest with you. Being so authentic in myself, not to feel compelled to fit the bill, to do what is expected of me, but to tend to me. Being so authentic to say, I need help. Yes. From my husband, from friends. I'm not okay. So how are you? I'm fine. No, I wouldn't say that. I'd be like, I'm not fine. I'm at the end of myself and I don't know if I can go on. Yet, in spite of all that, still was able to, with the pieces of me that were functional, just keep pushing along, keep the business going. And it's really strange. In that same period, I had amazing wins. My podcast was ranked the top 10 globally for family business.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I had huge global opportunities, speaking opportunities. And so, yeah, honestly, when you asked that question, I was like laughing to myself. It's going to sound like a joke, but surviving and getting through the the darkness that was January 2021.
Oh yeah.
And I just hope that it's the end of it. I really hope. I hope that I've been to the worst. I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah. I totally feel what you're sharing. As I lost my husband a little bit over a month ago, being able to tap into that darkness and somehow use that pain to power your next move. It's not that, oh, now I'm going to take that and make a next move, but it's that keeps us going. I can totally relate to what you're sharing. And I think, yes, surviving 2020 and 2021 for many of us has been a high achievement. Keeping our sanity throughout all of it, dealing with the pain, dealing with the loss of loved ones is something that globally is happening to so many families. How do you manage, do you manage to take that pain and turn that into what, I don't know, do you use it as fire? Do you use it as power? Do you transmute that into something positive?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I didn't understand it initially. I was just too broken to make sense of it. And I was just questioning, how did I get here? How did this all happen? So it was just disbelief. But then at some point, I moved from deep sadness to gratitude, right? And gratitude, not in the way that you might think, being grateful for the lives that they lived, but gratitude for the impact of the deep sadness that I felt. Because we were just talking about the distinction between pain and suffering, right? I found that the pain was fuel and a very compelling reason for me to say yes to myself. Because saying no to myself literally felt like I was going to die. I just couldn't mentally, I couldn't take in things. Emotionally, I was at the end of myself. Physically, I was just completely spent. So yeah, I'm so grateful for the lessons that the grief brought, to just always live a very intentional life.
Yes.
To always stand up for myself, always think of myself, to be extremely conscious, and to truly live a life by design, by my design, not by society's design, not by any loved one's designs. That was so liberating.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as we went through that season, myself and my husband decided that we were moving to the US. We didn't consult anyone. We just quietly made our plans. And 4 months later, we then notified people that this is what we're doing. I think in the past, we would have felt a bit more compelled to kind of get their buy-in and influence and persuade. But we were like, we know exactly what we want for ourselves as individuals and as a family unit. And we're saying yes to us and no to everything else.
Thank you for doing that. Because I think as parents, when we make choices like that, our children may not understand at the time, but as they grow up, they will understand that that is the healthiest way of making choices, making conscious choices for you, for your family, to get to a better future for them, to create, and as you say, by your own design, create that future you want for yourselves as individuals, as a couple, as parents, and for your children. So I thank you for doing that in the name of your children, even they may not say it now, but I know for sure this is a huge huge lesson for them. And not tapping into what others think and what the opinions are of everybody around us is a huge decision to take those strong steps forward. How do you take this entire experience and that decision of moving into parenting your boys? What has been the hardest part in the parenting side of it, moving through these the last year with your boys?
I think for me, it's me just being very concerned about all this trauma. And by that, I don't necessarily mean that our losses of recent time, but the trauma of COVID-19. Because I'm just very sensitive to the fact that them moving from being in school, going to church, seeing friends and family, and then suddenly being cooked up at home must have some psychological impact. And I think for me, the hardest thing has been to let go and understand that they're resilient and adaptable in of themselves, and they're fine with transition. And again, with our choice to relocate to the US, there's a lot of anxiety in my mind. How are they going to feel about this huge transition? Because I went through it when I was 9. My parents moved us from Nigeria to the UK, and it was very difficult for me. But I was 9. I was a bit older. Our kids are 6 and 3. And I think they're at a much better age to adapt and, just jump in. So for me, it's been being quite worried about the impact of all these huge transition. COVID are also our conscious decision to move. How is that going to impact on them? But I think that's made me... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. It has made you... Go ahead.
I think it's made me, firstly, I'm grateful for the impact of lockdowns and stuff, because I became a lot more conscious as a parent in wanting to spend quality time with them, not giving them the crumbs of who I am, but giving them the best of who I am. Wanting to spend on time where it's undivided devotion, rather than like with your phone and like, you're not really listening. And then with our losses as well, it's just made me pull in more as a mum and a wife to the family, nurturing that family unit and ensuring that we have great connectivity between all of us. So I guess that's one positive of the last 16 months.
I think something that comes through in every conversation that I've had over the past 6 months is that presence. We have been forced to be present. And those who have chosen to actually take that opportunity to really be present, we have bonded a lot more with our spouses, with our children, with everybody who's locked down with us. And those who have not made that decision, luckily, the people that I've been speaking to, we've all taken that conscious decision of being more present with our children and with our spouses to create that connectivity, because in the end, that is what we have. That is what we're left with at this very moment in time, is that opportunity to connect really with those that are close to us, whether we like it or not. But that's the situation. And luckily for us, we're in a good space with that. How do you and your partner keep that balance, being all in the same house, running your business together, taking care of the children, having them in homeschool? How have you been able to balance? Well, I understand that balance as such does not exist. Let's start from there. But how have you kept all your plates spinning?
Oh God, yeah, balance is a myth. I mean, I must say we're very privileged. So in Lagos and Nigeria, it's like the norm to have help It's the norm to have nannies, cooks. So we had support, but in spite of that, it was still a huge disruption to our routines, to expectations, homeschooling, which I'm not a teacher. I don't really understand how to engage a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. That's your job. And why are you on a screen? Why aren't we sending them to a classroom? So it was still a bit of a transition. But in terms of myself and my husband, how we navigate it is we consciously spend time apart and consciously spend time together. Yeah. I think quite often as couples, there can be this inclination to just coexist, but not necessarily connect. You know, you can be in the same room and I'm on my phone and you're on your laptop, you're watching Netflix and, you know, I'm having dinner. We coexist, but we're not nurturing a connection. We're not really talking about what are your hopes and dreams, your fears, and, you know, and ensuring that I want to know, my husband's name is Afolabi. I want to know that I know the latest version of Afolabi. I want to know that I'm up to date with his latest fears and his latest dreams. See what I mean? So we would consciously have conversation, and I'm not one that's getting vulnerable is not easy for me. But especially through the grief, I would always signpost and let him know this is what I'm feeling. I'm really sad. I feel guilty. I feel angry. I feel resentful, just to make sure that he's in tune with the latest version of me as well. And then on to me time. God, me time is, these days, it takes different forms in different seasons. At the start of the pandemic, I was very intentional about quiet time. I would wake up earlier before everyone else in the house and I would just meditate and pray, worship, be quiet, just re-engage with myself, ensure there's a congruence between my mind, my soul, my spirit, just ensure that we're realigning. These days it's exercise, it's running. When I run, I empty my mind, or my anxieties just go, and I'm able to just ideate. I'm able to dream. I'm able to envision possibility, and it's so invigorating. So I know Nike as an individual, and in connecting with my husband, I know Nike as a wife and as a couple, and also connecting with the kids, I know Nike as a mum, because I think I observed in our parents' generation, many women that just lost themselves. They just, you'd see it, they turn up to the family events with their husbands and the kids, but they were lost in the eyes. You could just see that spark was gone, that desire to want to live and enjoy life, it was gone. And I never want us to get into that. Understandably, life has its ups and its downs, and it has its difficult seasons, but I want to be able to go through those difficult seasons still nourished by the connections that I have with my spouse and with my kids, not feeling completely like disconnected and glazed over in the eyes, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And I think it's really beautiful what you mentioned is that connection with yourself, to be in alignment with who you are in all of your senses, as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, because we carry many hats. Mm-hmm. We shift constantly between being a mom, an entrepreneur, a coach, a strategist, a wife, a daughter, and so on and so on. We take on so many roles, and having that alignment and knowing who you are as a person, whether you're a woman, a man, if you know yourself and you're standing strong with yourself and you have your own back, then you can show up to all events being you and having and keeping that spark. Keeping that spark. I love that. Because that is where you keep standing in your personal power, and you're able to accompany others, and you're allowing also your husband to accompany you with whatever is going on. And I think that connection that you have is modeling something very important for your children as well. Being able to see mom and dad speak about feelings, being able to see that connection teaches our children that it is okay to feel, that it is okay to have those emotions, that it is okay to speak about them, and that they are part of who we are, that are part of our human existence, and everything works out in the end. You know, I think it's so powerful that you have that connection. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. You just gave me clarity when you were speaking. I just figured something out. That spark that those women that I observed lost sometimes isn't necessarily because the connection with their spouses has kind of dwindled, but sometimes it's the connection in themselves.
Everything starts and ends with us. And if we are standing strong, everything around us works out and everybody around us will be fine. I figured that one out as a mom. I was having issues with my daughter when she was smaller. She was acting out. Tantrums were huge, movie-like tantrums. I said, it can't be that a 4-year-old has that power over me. And that's where I learned, as I went into coaching and I sought out help, I understood that I wasn't in alignment with myself, and automatically that projected onto her. She was mirroring my mess. So when I worked on that, everything started to balance out. So that connection, that the spark comes from within. And if we are in alignment, as you say, if we work on that on a daily basis, our children learn how to do that as well. So it is all connected. They're all little connections, and it's all cause and effect for ourselves and for our children. That's amazing. I'm so happy you brought that up and you shared with us how you do that. And I also think that running, exercise, I meditate in action. I call it meditation in action because I'm not very good at sitting down, being quiet. I need to be moving. That's how I operate. So I think it's good to know that they're not the only one. There's many of us out there doing it that way. Now I understand you keep your sanity by meditating, by praying, by worshiping, by running, and by keeping yourself in alignment. What would your key piece of advice be for high achieving parents in general? What is it that you would like to share with us?
I would say gain clarity on exactly what it is you're trying to achieve. Because quite often we can be quite restless. We're on a quest for significance, but we can't define what that significance is. We can't define what it is we are trying to achieve. We know we want to achieve highly and be successful, yes, but we can't enumerate it or describe it. And so the quest for high achievement can drive us. And for me, in the past, I've noticed that I can, when I'm busy and I'm pushing myself to achieve, and I don't know what it is I'm trying to achieve, it's usually trauma-driven. And I think it's so important that we slow down to speed up. We slow down to get clear, yes, on what it is we want from life, and who it is that we want to become, and ensure that all that we're doing is moving us closer towards that goal. Because as a high achiever, you're a magnet as well. So people are always drawn towards you. They know that you get ish done. Not many people have the gift of execution. And they know that you're a go-getter. Like once you've envisioned it, you just do it. You don't you don't mull over it. You don't procrastinate. You just get stuff done. And everyone will want a piece of you. But it's important that whoever you're saying yes to, it's mutually beneficial and it's serving each other's missions. I think those are the two key lessons: is just slowing down to really reflect what it is you want, and being very mindful of the fact that not every connection is your connection. Not every contact is a connection. Some people are just contacts. They're just, you say hi to them, you meet them once in a while, but doesn't mean you're going to build with them or you're going to collaborate with them or you're going to invest with them. It's not everything you're called to. Getting clear on that and ensuring that whatever it is you do collaborate with people, it's serving your mission as well. It has to be just like in a healthy marriage. Both parties have to feel fulfilled.
There needs to be an alignment.
There has to be an alignment.
And I think what you mentioned is that there is a mutual benefit. And I think that's so important to understand that in any relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a business connection, whether it's a relationship close or far by, it's something that needs to be nurturing one another. If not, it's just, if you're just taking buckets of water to the ocean, really, So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Where can people reach out to you?
So firstly, thank you so much for having me. I've really, really enjoyed our connection. I feel a renewed spark actually in myself. Where can you meet me? I've got a podcast myself, The Connected Generation. We have many conversations on generational wealth, legacy businesses, and things of the like. And also my website is probably the best place to reach me, www.nikeanani.com, NikeAnani.com. So over there, you've got links to the podcast, to my social, some articles, and my email address if you want to get in touch as well.
I hope we can keep this connection going.
For sure. That would be amazing.
And, happy moving. And let us know when you're on this side of the planet.
Yes.
Let me know. We'll most certainly be in touch. I'm already looking forward to our next session. What was your major takeaway from this one? I'd love to hear from you. Come and share your insights with me on social media at Coach Séverine Nassens and visit highachievingparents.com for more information on how you too can find clarity and obtain the tools to find fulfillment in both your professional and family life. Talk to you soon.